Hey, future marketing masterminds. You got those exams coming up, and I know Chapter 10 pricing can be a little bit of a brain twister.
Yeah, it can be pretty dense.
It's a lot to get your head around.
It is.
But that's why we're here to help you walk into that exam room feeling totally confident and prepared.
That's right. We're going to break it all down, give you real world examples,
Yeah.
the stuff that will stick in your memory like glue, and of course, highlight all the key takeaways that are most likely to pop up on your exam.
Exactly. And don't forget, Grade Guru has got your back. You can find practice exams and a super helpful chapter summary over at gradeguru.nl.
For sure.
So let's dive right in. First things first, we need to establish like a solid foundation. Can you give us a clear and concise definition of price?
Absolutely. Price is the amount of money a customer pays for a product or service, and it's actually the only element in the marketing mix that generates revenue.
Oh.
Everything else represents a cost.
It's true. It's like you have to spend money to make money, right?
Yeah.
But pricing is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the big three, the major pricing approaches that every marketing student needs to know.
So you've got customer value-based pricing, cost-based pricing, and competition-based pricing.
Okay, three big buckets. Let's break them down one by one.
Yeah.
Starting with customer value-based pricing. What's the core idea behind this approach?
Customer value-based pricing focuses on the buyer's perception of value, not just the seller's costs. So we want to figure out how much a customer is willing to pay for the benefits they receive from a product or service.
Okay, so it's not just about the raw materials or the manufacturing process. It's about the perceived value that the product brings to the customer's life.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
A perfect example is luxury brands. They often charge premium prices because customers perceive their brands as high value, even if the cost of production might not be drastically different from non-luxury competitors. It's all about the brand image, the exclusivity, the emotional connection that customers have with the product.
Right, it's that feeling you get. Even if it's, objectively the same thing. Think about those high-end smartphones. They might have similar hardware to some mid-range phones, but the brand name, the design, the perceived status they offer allow companies to command a much higher price.
Absolutely.
So within customer value-based pricing, there are a few variations that are important to understand, like good value pricing and value-added pricing.
Yes.
Okay, let's unpack those. Starting with
Yeah.
good value pricing, what's the essence of this approach?
Good value pricing is about offering just the right combination of quality and good service at a fair price. There are two main strategies we see in action: everyday low pricing, or EDLP, and high-low pricing.
Ah, EDLP. Think of stores like Walmart or ALDI consistently offering those low prices, appealing to the budget-conscious shoppers.
Right.
And then you have retailers operating on a high-low model with those higher regular prices, but
Yeah.
frequent sales and promotions to attract all the deal seekers out there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, value-added pricing, what's that all about?
Value-added pricing is all about differentiating your offerings by adding features or services that enhance the customer experience and justify higher prices.
It's like when a software company bundles their product with premium customer support training materials or exclusive content. They're essentially saying, we're giving you more, so it's worth paying a premium.
Right, exactly. They're adding value beyond the core product or service to create a more compelling offer for customers willing to pay for that premium experience.
Okay, so that's customer value-based pricing. Let's shift gears now and delve into cost-based pricing. What's the fundamental principle behind this approach?
Cost-based pricing starts with calculating the cost of producing, distributing, and selling a product. Then a markup is added to ensure a profit.
Like baking a cake. You have the cost of ingredients, the electricity to run the oven, and maybe the cost of packaging if you're selling it. Then you add a markup to determine the selling price
That's a great analogy.
and make some profit.
Yeah, and when we talk about costs, there are a few key types to keep in mind. We have fixed costs, which stay the same regardless of production volume, like rent and salaries.
Right, those are always there.
Then there are variable costs, which fluctuate based on how much you produce, like raw materials. And finally, your total cost is simply the sum of your fixed and variable costs.
Gotcha. So you got to keep track of all of those to make sure you're pricing things right.
For sure. And there's another interesting concept related to costs, the experience curve.
Okay.
This suggests that as a company produces more of a product, its cost per unit decreases due to increased efficiency and economies of scale.
Think about flat screen TVs. When they first came out, super expensive.
Yeah.
But then as production ramped up and technology advanced, prices gradually came down, even as the features improved.
Exactly. That's the experience curve in action.
I love that.
Now, within cost-based pricing, there are two specific methods we need to understand: cost plus pricing and break-even analysis.
All right, let's break those down, starting with cost plus pricing. What's the gist of this method?
Cost plus pricing is a simple approach where a fixed percentage markup is added to the cost of the product. For example, if a product costs $50 to produce and the company wants a 20% markup, they would add $10 to the cost and sell it for $60.
That sounds pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Are there any downsides to using this method?
Yes. One of the limitations is that it doesn't account for market dynamics like customer demand or competitor pricing. It's a simple method, but it might not always be the most strategic in a competitive marketplace.
So you got to consider the bigger picture, not just your internal costs.
Exactly.
Okay. What about break-even analysis? Why is that important for businesses?
Break-even analysis helps businesses determine how many units they need to sell at a given price to cover all their costs and reach the point where they're neither making nor losing money. It's a critical tool for setting prices that ensure profitability.
So it's like finding that magic number where revenue equals costs.
Yeah,
The point where the business starts to actually turn a profit.
precisely. And beyond just breaking even, businesses can also use target return pricing, which sets prices to achieve a specific profit target, going beyond just covering costs.
Okay, so we've covered customer value-based pricing and cost-based pricing. Let's move on to our third major strategy, competition-based pricing. What's the driving force behind this approach?
Competition-based pricing involves setting prices based on what competitors are charging. Companies might choose to price their products similarly to competitors, go slightly higher to signal premium quality, or undercut prices to gain market share.
That's like a pricing dance, right? Where businesses are constantly watching and reacting to each other's moves. How does this play out in a real-world scenario, let's say in the fast food industry?
Imagine two popular burger chains. They might offer similar combo meals with slightly different pricing strategies. One might focus on slightly lower prices to attract budget-conscious customers, while the other might highlight premium ingredients or larger portions to justify a slightly higher price. They're constantly trying to differentiate themselves while staying competitive within the market.
It's a constant game of strategy and positioning. Businesses need to find that sweet spot where they can stand out from the competition while still appealing to their target customers.
Exactly. And it's important to note that while these three pricing strategies provide a framework, there are several internal and external factors that can influence pricing decisions. These factors can significantly impact how businesses apply these strategies in the real world.
So it's not just about choosing one of those three strategies and sticking to it rigidly. There's a whole other layer of complexity that businesses need to consider.
That's right. And understanding these additional factors is crucial for mastering this chapter and acing those exams. Let's dive into those factors now.
Let's do it. I'm ready to unpack these internal and external factors that can make or break a pricing strategy. Okay, so we're back and ready to tackle those internal and external factors that can really shake things up in the pricing world. What are some of the key internal factors that businesses need to think about?
Well, the company's overall marketing strategy and objectives play a huge role. If a company is going for like a premium brand image, their pricing will likely reflect that, focusing on higher price points to kind of signal that exclusivity and quality.
Right, their pricing needs to match up with their overall brand positioning and the image they want to project.
Exactly, and objectives are equally important. Is the company focused on maximizing short-term profits or maybe gaining market share? Are they aiming for a specific return on investment?
Yeah,
These objectives will all influence their pricing
for
decisions.
sure. Let's say a company is launching a new product in a competitive market.
Hmm.
They might initially choose a penetration pricing strategy, setting low prices to gain market share quickly, even if it means sacrificing some profit margin in the short term.
Right. That's a great example. Now, beyond strategy and objectives, the marketing mix itself is a crucial internal factor. Pricing can't exist in isolation. It needs to be carefully coordinated with the other elements of the marketing mix: product promotion and distribution.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle.
Yeah.
All the pieces need to fit together. If you're selling a luxury product, you wouldn't promote it through discount channels or distribute it in low-end stores.
Right.
It would create a disconnect.
For sure. And finally, organizational considerations can also influence pricing decisions. Who has the authority to set prices within the company? Is it a centralized decision made by top management, or a more decentralized approach involving product managers or even sales teams?
Right. The internal structure and decision-making processes within the company can definitely impact how those prices are determined.
Absolutely. Now let's shift our focus to the external factors that can significantly influence pricing strategies. One of the most fundamental is market demand. How much do people actually want this product or service?
Yeah, it's the classic supply and demand principle. If demand is high and supply is limited, businesses can typically command higher prices. Think about concert tickets for a super popular artist.
Yeah.
The limited number of seats and high demand often lead to those crazy inflated ticket prices.
A perfect example. And on the flip side, if demand is low and supply is abundant, businesses might need to lower prices to try and stimulate sales.
Like those clearance sales.
Yes,
Stores are just trying to get rid of extra inventory by offering deep discounts.
exactly. Now, beyond market demand, the overall economic climate plays a crucial role in pricing decisions. Factors like inflation, recession, interest rates, and even currency fluctuations can impact consumer spending and force businesses to adjust their pricing strategies accordingly.
It's like navigating a constantly changing landscape. If inflation is high and consumers are feeling the pinch, businesses might need to be more cautious about raising prices even if their costs are going up.
Right. They might choose to absorb some of those costs themselves to maintain affordability and keep those customers loyal.
Or maybe look for ways to reduce costs internally.
Exactly.
So it's a delicate balancing act between staying profitable and staying competitive in a challenging economic environment.
Precisely. And let's not forget about government regulations. Certain industries might have price controls or regulations that limit how much businesses can charge for their products or services.
Think about essential utilities like electricity or water.
Yeah.
In a lot of areas, government agencies regulate pricing to ensure affordability and prevent price gouging.
That's a great example. Now, on top of these macroeconomic factors, businesses also need to consider the competitive landscape within their specific industries.
Right. They need to keep an eye on what their competitors are up to. If a competitor lowers their prices, a business might need to follow suit to stay competitive, even if it cuts into their profits. Or they might choose to differentiate themselves through value-added features or services that justify a higher price point.
Exactly. It's a constant game of strategy and adaptation. Now let's talk about a crucial concept that connects price and demand, the demand curve.
Okay.
This curve illustrates the relationship between the price of a product and the quantity demanded by consumers.
So it's a visual representation of how much people are willing to buy at different price points. I remember seeing those graphs in econ class.
Yeah.
You know, those downward sloping lines? As the price goes up, the quantity demanded typically goes down.
That's right. And the extent to which demand changes in response to price changes is called price elasticity.
So if demand is elastic, it means a small change in price can cause a big change in how much people want to buy.
Exactly. A great example is travel. Hey, think about airline tickets. When those prices drop, even a little people are quick to book flights,
Oh, yeah.
leading to a surge in demand. But if prices increase a lot, many people might choose to postpone their travel plans or find different destinations,
Right.
resulting in a sharp decline in demand.
So for products with elastic demand, businesses need to be really careful about how they adjust those prices because even small changes can have a big impact on their sales volume.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, if demand is inelastic, it means that those price changes don't have as big of an impact on demand.
So even if the price goes up, people will still buy roughly the same amount.
Exactly. Think about essential goods like gasoline or prescription medications. Even if prices rise, people still need them.
Right. People aren't going to stop driving their cars or taking their meds just because the price goes up a bit.
Right. And understanding price elasticity is critical for businesses because it helps them predict how changes in price might affect their sales volume and revenue.
So it's a powerful tool for making smart pricing decisions and understanding the potential impact of those decisions.
Exactly. Now let's take a step back and consider how the overall market structure can influence pricing strategies.
Okay, market structure. This sounds interesting. How does the type of market a business operates in affect their pricing decisions?
Well, we can broadly classify markets into four main types: pure competition, monopolistic competition, oligopolistic competition, and pure monopoly. And each of these structures has its own unique characteristics that influence pricing dynamics.
4 market types. Okay, let's unpack them one by one, starting with pure competition. What's the defining feature of this type of market?
Pure competition is a market with a large number of buyers and sellers, all dealing in a standardized product or commodity. No single player has enough market power to influence prices. It's like a big farmer's market, where everyone is selling the same apples. The price is mostly determined by the overall supply and demand in the market.
So in that scenario, businesses are essentially price takers, right?
Mm.
They don't have much control over setting their own prices and have to just go with the prevailing market price.
Exactly. Their focus is on minimizing costs and operating as efficiently as possible to maximize their profit margins.
Within those constraints.
Yeah.
Okay, so pure competition, lots of players, standardized products, limited pricing power. What about monopolistic competition? How is that different?
In monopolistic competition, we still have many sellers, but they offer differentiated products. Think restaurants, clothing stores, or salons. They might be selling similar products or services, but they differentiate themselves through branding, location, customer service, or unique features.
So it's like a marketplace with more variety and choice for consumers. And businesses have a bit more leeway to set their own prices based on the value they offer.
Exactly. They're not just competing on price, but on those unique qualities and experiences they provide.
Gotcha. Okay, what about oligopolistic competition? This sounds like things are starting to get more intense.
An oligopoly is a market dominated by a few large firms. Think about the airline industry, the auto industry, or wireless service providers.
Okay.
In these markets, each player is highly aware of its competitors' actions, and pricing decisions become very strategic.
So the stakes are higher.
Absolutely.
And businesses need to be careful about how they adjust those prices.
They need to anticipate their competitors' reactions and avoid triggering a price war that could hurt everyone's profits.
Right.
They often focus on non-price competition, like brand-building innovation or loyalty programs to set themselves apart.
It's like they're trying to outmaneuver each other without blowing up the whole market.
Exactly. Okay, last but not least, we have pure monopoly. What's the defining characteristic here?
Let's hear.
A pure monopoly is a market with only one seller. They have complete control over pricing, limited only by government regulations or maybe public backlash.
Think about a small town with only one grocery store.
Yes,
Or utility company that has exclusive rights to provide electricity to a region.
exactly. However, even in a monopoly, businesses need to consider the long-term consequences of setting prices too high. It could lead to unhappy customers, government intervention, or even new competitors popping up.
Right. So even with a monopoly, there's still strategic considerations and potential risks.
Absolutely. And with that, we've covered the four main market structures. Understanding these structures is crucial for analyzing real-world pricing scenarios and seeing how the competitive landscape shapes those pricing strategies.
Wow. This has been such a deep dive into the world of pricing. We've covered those major pricing strategies, explored internal and external factors, delved into the dynamics of price elasticity and the demand curve, and even dissected the different types of market structures. My brain is like buzzing with new knowledge.
That's great to hear. And remember, mastering these concepts will not only help you ace those exams, but also give you valuable skills for your future career.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up this pricing extravaganza, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we as consumers can apply this knowledge to our own lives. You know, I'm all about finding those bargains and making those smart purchasing decisions.
That's a great question, and it leads us perfectly into our final segment, where we'll explore how understanding these pricing strategies can make you a more confident consumer.
Awesome. I'm ready to unlock those secrets to savvy shopping.
Yeah.
Let's dive in. Okay, savvy shoppers in training. Let's turn all this pricing knowledge into like actionable strategies.
Yeah.
Time to unlock the secrets to making smarter purchasing decisions. I'm ready to graduate from impulse buys to informed choices.
That's the goal. And the first step is recognizing that price isn't always the best indicator of value.
Okay, so don't just automatically go for the cheapest option. What else should we be thinking about?
Be wary of those psychological pricing tricks that retailers use. They know how our brains work and use tactics like ending prices in 99 to make them seem lower, or creating that sense of urgency with limited time offers.
It's so true. Those limited time only sales always get me. Like I got to act fast
Right.
before I miss out.
Exactly. Recognizing those tactics can help you avoid making those impulse purchases you might regret later.
It's all about taking a step back and really evaluating the value,
For sure.
not just getting caught up in the deal.
And don't be afraid to shop around and compare prices. The internet has made this easier than ever. You can quickly check prices from different retailers before you buy anything.
Yeah, comparison shopping is key. I love those price comparison websites and browser extensions that do the work for you.
They can be super helpful. And remember that timing is everything. If you can be flexible with your purchases, you can often get amazing deals during seasonal sales or clearance events.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like waiting for those end of season sales to stock up on winter clothes or holiday decorations.
Exactly. You can save so much money by planning your purchases strategically and taking advantage of those predictable sales cycles.
Okay, so we've talked about resisting those psychological tricks, comparing prices, and being strategic about timing. Any other pro tips for us aspiring savvy shoppers?
Don't underestimate the power of negotiation, especially for big-ticket items. It never hurts to politely ask for a better price or see if there are any additional discounts available.
Yeah, you got to use those haggling skills. I've heard stories of people saving tons of money just by negotiating.
It's definitely worth a try, especially for those major purchases. The worst they can say is no.
So true. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Absolutely. And by understanding these pricing strategies and using these tips, you can become a more informed and empowered consumer, making smart decisions that fit your budget and values.
I feel like I can take on the world now, or at least the grocery store.
That's the spirit. Remember, knowledge is power when it comes to pricing.
So true.
The more you understand, the better you'll be able to make choices that benefit you.
This deep dive into pricing has been so insightful. We covered everything from the fundamental pricing strategies to real-world shopping tips that can save us money
It's been great.
and help us feel more confident as consumers.
It has. And don't forget, Grade Guru has even more resources to help you master this chapter and ace those exams. Just go to gradeguru.nl for practice exams, chapter summaries, and more.
Yes, definitely check out those resources. They'll help you solidify your understanding and walk into that exam room feeling confident. And for all of you future marketing stars out there, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep using this knowledge to make smart decisions in your studies and in your future careers.
Best of luck with your exams.
And that wraps up another episode of The Deep Dive. Until next time, happy studying and happy shopping.